The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's David Newman, and you are in the right place for the 7 Steps to Speaking-Driven Success Masterclass. We're actually trying something crazy here. We're live streaming this on Facebook as well as giving you guys the full interactive webinar experience. If you want to tell your friends, share the URL. It is, in fact, 7stepsmasterclass.com. 7stepsmasterclass.com is the place to go. So let's do our usual AV check. I want to get my slides full screen here for you guys. Can everyone see the title slide, the Do It Marketing logo, 7 Steps to Speaking Driven Success, my smiling face? And can you hear me nice and loud and clear? Just type in the question box. Type the word yes in the question box if that's all coming across. I think the Facebook Live people, I think you guys are fine. I don't know. We're going to find out. It's going to be great. And let's see what's going on here with. All right. So Carrie says yes. Lewis said don't see the slides. Well, thank you. Thank you. See? Whew. How about now? Tech disaster averted. Tech disaster averted. You can start the webinar and it will still show the blank gray screen until you say share my screen. So Karen and Lewis and Jane and everybody, thank you for the heads up. Laura, thank you for the heads up. Now we should be better, right? Yes, yes, yes. Now, okay. Now we see them. Jane sees them. Laura, Eric, Lewis, David, Koga, Jeff. Thank you guys. See, you guys think I'm doing that for fun. You guys think it's like, oh, he has this all dialed in. He doesn't need our help. But I actually do. I need all the help I can get. So let's get right into the meat here. But thank you for the tech check. All right, who this is for. You guys are in the right place if you want to become a better entrepreneur of your expertise, meaning speakers, authors, coaches, consultants, trainers, thought-leading entrepreneurs, and professional service providers. This is for you. If you use your expertise, knowledge, or wisdom to create unique breakthroughs for your clients and audiences, this is for you. It's for you. I'm one of you by experts, for experts, to help experts monetize their expertise. That's what we do around here. So sit back, relax, nothing for sale on this webinar. Turn off all distractions, close your office door, grab your pooch or grab your kitty cat, have them nearby. Ideally, you would silence your phone, get completely off email, get completely off Facebook. Give yourself the gift of attention to take really good notes so you can apply these strategies immediately. This is not only about learning, it's about doing. And of course, that's why our company is called Do It Marketing and not Think About It Marketing and watch endless webinars, but Do Nothing Marketing and all those other crazy names that probably wouldn't be as snappy as Do It Marketing. All right. Stick around until the end. As usual, we have some special gifts and some cool downloads and resources for you. And today's webinar is a little bit different because we're going to take a case study approach. And we're also going to give you a sneak peek inside of our mentoring program, piece by piece, block by block, and show you how our rockstar, amazing, incredible clients are applying 7 specific strategies, mindsets, tool sets, and practices, really principles, even more so than practices, to grow their business. And then we'll talk about some ways that you can do the same. So let's start with 3 big problems that people show up on our doorstep all the time, and we're going to help you guys bust through this right now. Number 1 is no value prop to the client, no value prop to the audience, no ultimate end result of when you leave the building, how is that client or how is that audience better off? So what does this look like? This looks like me-centric messaging, all about I, me, my, me, same old lame-o language that commoditizes your expertise. No real strong articulation of how you help or what you do or what kind of results you catalyze and create. No distinction, meaning that you look the same, sound the same, act the same as every other expert who does what you do. You risk coming across as a generalist or a generic speaker, and a lot of your marketing is about guessing, hoping, or winging it. Guessing, hoping, or winging it. So these things are not good. If you can relate to that, type in number one or no value prop, even if that's not your current situation necessarily, but been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. If you've escaped from this, that is fantastic. If you have not yet escaped from this, I think now might be the time. Second big problem, second big obstacle that in the course of this entire masterclass we are going to help you with is no target market. What does that mean? That means that everyone needs better leadership, everyone needs better presentation skills, everyone needs awesome customer service, everyone needs what you do. Offerings are all over the map. There is no depth. You have the perception, even if you're an expert, here's the part that makes me really sad with this one. Even if you are truly an expert, because you're so broad, you're giving the perception of a dabbler. So when you have a generalist topic or set of topics, it diminishes the perception of your expertise in the things that you're really good at. And it's a very low confidence approach. You know why? You're hedging your bets. You're saying, well, if they don't want this, maybe they want that. If they don't want that, maybe they want this. And you're trying to cover all the bases and you're spreading yourself too thin. And that is not going to work to set you up as a true expert and truly the genius that you are at solving the problems that you already know how to solve for your clients and for your audiences. So if you've experienced this, type in number 2 in the chat box, in the question box, or no target market or target market, and we'll know that the problem is no target market. And again, that might not be the current situation, but at any point in your career, have you been stuck in this all over the map spray and pray trap? And would love to see how people are doing on that. And then the third one, maybe even the biggest one, and we did a survey. Some of you guys were kind enough to fill out the survey. This by far was the number one source of problem, is not enough proactive outreach and prospecting. Something like 80% of the survey recipients said that they already know what the problem is. And the problem is not enough proactive, specific, outbound sales and prospecting activity. So what does that lead to? Accidental selling, right? You sell things by accident instead of on purpose. You never know mindset. You never know where the next prospect is coming from. Random tactics lead to random results. Every sale turns out differently. It's a very reactive, insecure, weak approach. It is not proactive. It does not put you in the driver's seat of your revenue. It does not put you in the driver's seat of your sales process. It does not put you in the driver's seat of controlling and enforcing a revenue model. And we're going to talk about that later as well. What does that mean to actually enforce a revenue model? Not have one, not hope for one, not wish for one, but actually enforce a revenue model. That's what we're looking at. So which one is yours? Let's take a look. Some people typed 1, and I'll review what they are in case you didn't get a chance to chime in here. 1 was no value prop, or me messaging, same-o, lame-o, commoditized positioning. Number 2 was no target market, everyone, everywhere, anytime, any topic, any fee kind of speaker. That's what I used to be back in the early days. I had all 3 of these problems in the early days. And then no sales process or no selling ability, no proactive outreach and prospecting game plan. So the 1 folks type 1, the 2 folks type 2, the 3 folks type 3. I'm going to take a look at what you put in the question box, and let's see where the chips fall on this one. So we have a lot of 3, which is interesting. 2, 2, 2, all of the above. Laura just says you're just keeping us on our toes. Yes, true. 2, 2, 2, no target market, says Jabali. I do have a target market, says Laura. Christopher and Spencer and Jabali's 3. Jabali's all of the above. Lewis is 3. Laura is 3. Godwin is 1 and 3. Steve is all 3 of them. Karen, Jason, Jeff, and Keith all said number 3. Fred says no sales process. Keith says they all hurt. And then Richard says all of the above. Okay, well, we're going to try and help you with some of that right here, right now on this masterclass. There we go. Let me show you the strength of having this dialed in. This is our client, Mike Thompson, who came to us. He was in the education market. His problem, the way he described it, is he was tired of hunting rabbits. The gig hamster wheel, right? Get the gig, do the gig, get the gig, do the gig. Client after he got so much clarity with the business model, the revenue model, and the service model, here's what Mike came out of our program as an end result. One sponsor is talking to me about a $50,000 program, and another one just signed up at $75,000 a year for 3 years, so that's $225,000. I can't say enough about David personally, and his mentoring program made all the difference. I've stopped hunting rabbits, and I'm finally building a real business around my speaking. Now, the difference is we took out the monkey work, we focused Mike on a clear, finite set of activities, and we helped him build and scale a real business, not that gig-to-gig hamster wheel that I was just talking about, right? Get the gig, do the gig, get the gig, do the gig, but a real sustainable long-term business around what he was already doing, packaged it differently, positioned it differently. And Mike has a great case study video on our website, actually. He says, the day that I figured out it wasn't about me, remember the me messaging problem? Mike was already very successful, but he totally had the me messaging problem. And when he got that wake-up call, even after 30 years of doing okay in the business, and we never want our clients just to do okay. We want our clients to go like Zoom, right? Rocket ship. But even after 30 years of doing okay, it was a pivot point and an inflection point in his results. And he actually did less marketing and got better results. He did less marketing monkey work, less busy work, and got bigger and better deals more consistently. So let's talk about how to do that. Building your foundation. And the first thing that we walk our clients through is a module called Smart Start, about build your strategy, define that business and speaking model, decide your target niche and identity, create a speaking revenue roadmap, all of these kinds of things. So here's how to get started on this for you. Figure out what's the empire that you're building. What is the business model, the speaking model, and the revenue model? And we're going to dig into each of these. Let's start with speaking model. The questions that you want to ask yourself is, what kind of work do you actually want? What kind of work would actually bring you joy, happiness, fulfillment, and be the intersection of your passion and marketplace demand? That's really, really important. A lot of people say, oh, follow your passion, follow your dream, follow follow your heart, and the money will follow. No, not true, not true. So think about very specifically, what kind of length programs do you want? What kind of format? Virtual, online, keynote, half day, full day, multi-day, boot camps. What kind of audience? What topic or topic mix? What niche? What umbrella do you want to put over your speaking? The danger that I see a lot of speakers do, and this is even true with mid-career speakers and advanced elite speakers that we work with, it's not just the newbies that have this problem. It's Chinese menu syndrome. And nobody buys a Chinese menu. What they buy is a house specialty. So think about this. What's the menu item in your speaking, coaching, and training business that you want to circle with a big red Sharpie and say, hey, if it's your first time here, make sure you eat this? What's the gateway drug? What's the first thing you want them to pay attention to and the first thing you want to be hired for? Even if you do other things along the way, you need to have that gateway flagship offering. Speech, keynote, seminar, training, workshop, boot camp, coaching program, consulting package. It can be lots of different things. We help people build a speaking-driven business, not a speaking-only business. Very important distinction. A lot of people think we only work with keynote speakers who are on big stages in front of thousands of people. Not true. We work with every level of speaker to help them accelerate their revenue and improve their business model, and at the end of the day, improve their bank account and their results. So think about the revenue model next. What's going to be on your menu of offerings? Speaking, training, coaching, consulting, perhaps licensing, maybe sponsorship. We're going to get back to sponsorship with another story. You just heard about Mike Thompson. I'm going to give you another success story with sponsorship later on. But speaking anywhere from $5,500 to $9,500, some of you are already charging and getting more. That's great. But that's the sweet spot where most kind of early to mid-career speakers are getting hired. Training day, same thing. Please, please, please don't charge any different or any lower or any higher for a speaking day versus a training day. You're not a taxi. We're not doing taxi meter pricing. That's crazy town. Coaching and consulting, that can be very lucrative for people. So 90-day coaching package, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. For executive teams or executive coaching where it's multiple executives, multiply that by 4 or 5 or 10 or 20. So you can have a 6-figure coaching deal. We've had clients get 6-figure coaching deals while they were mentoring with us. Consulting, really the sky's the limit there, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month. Licensing, to license your intellectual property anywhere from 50 to 100 to multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. And same thing with sponsorship. Just like you saw with Mike Thompson, who booked $225,000 from one client and $50,000 from another, all in the course of just a few short weeks, talking to people that he was talking to anyway. Think about that, talking to people that he was talking to anyway. But now he had a much bigger conversation, a much more exciting conversation about how he could help them. Case study number 1 is Steve Weber. Steve is a Forrest Gump impersonator or Forrest Gump tribute artist, and he was paid a couple $100 a day to sit in front of Bubba Gump shrimp restaurants. Well, we decided that Steve would be much better off and much better packaged as a main stage keynote speaker. So we got him out of the Bubba Gump shrimp business and really heavily into the keynote and conference hosting business, and still with the Forrest Gump theme, but look at these prices. $5,500, $6,200, international $12,500. To be a conference host, anywhere from $55,000 to $18,000, and he just opened up an entire new division of his business, getting out of the impersonating business and getting into the high fee keynote and conference business. So huge, huge success. What Steve had to say about our work together, he says, we mapped out my 3-year plan designed to produce $1.4 million in revenue. David helped me implement and accelerate both my planning and my doing. Working with David has helped me leverage my business into some serious revenue. Now, the important thing with this success story is planning. Planning, goals, targets, and the strategies to get there. You can have all kinds of great goals and all kinds of great strategies without an implementation partner to give you traction and momentum and guidance, right? Guided implementation is really the key here. So you can have all the goals and dreams in the world, knowing human nature, including knowing myself, I'm still going to have a hard time getting out of bed. I'm still going to have a hard time pushing the button on what needs to be done to get my business where it needs to go. Maybe you're in the same boat, that you need some external structure, guidance, and accountability to help you realize those dreams, guide you away from the dangerous, goofy mistakes, and help you get into the right kind of activity for the right reason, in the right way, talking to the right people with the right language at the right frequency, so that you keep your pipeline full and you keep the sales coming in. Second thing is positioning, naming, and branding. This is really important, and people make all kinds of goofy mistakes here. The first mistake is not to label yourself. You absolutely need to have a label so meeting planners and conference producers know who they're dealing with. If you're all about sales, all about leadership, all about IT security, let them know that in the first 2 seconds that they're on your website. Don't keep it a mystery. Don't hedge your bets. Don't say I do sales and leadership and customer service and IT and women's empowerment and this, that, and the other thing. Stake your claim. Think about it like the CNN test. When you're on CNN, like Kevin Johnson here, you get 2 or 3 words. His word is hacker. Your word might be prefaced by the word expert or followed by the word expert, rather. So when you're on CNN, it's going to say sales expert, leadership expert. Mine might say speaker marketing expert. But you literally get 2 or 3 words, and that is it. So position yourself and label yourself so that buyers know what they're buying. Really, really important. The branding decisions that you're making are going to impact the following things. The level of audience that might be associated with your name and with your titles. If you've got a program called CEO Leadership, guess what? That's going to appeal to CEOs. It's not going to appeal to frontline supervisors. So you also have to distinguish yourself with your market-facing brands and titles and keynote programs and seminars. You do not want to do a generic program or have a generic brand out there. Otherwise, you'll be just another same-o, lame-o speaker. Test this with some buyers. What's their gut response? Do they get it? Do they need it? Do they want it? And then are you aligned with that brand so you can use the same brand or the same positioning and messaging for your book, for your products, for your boot camps, for your column in the business journal, for all of your professional services, for your coaching programs, your mentoring programs, your 12-month consulting transformational experiences. If the brand doesn't travel, then you're going to have a real hard time with some brand conflict and people not knowing what you do and what brands are associated with you. Case study number 2 is my client and friend Tom Davidson, already a successful speaker, already doing okay as a generic leadership guy, but he was also a forester. And we decided that most of his business was already coming from the forestry and the natural resources world. Why not niche down and dominate that industry? So we flipped it. It's now called Leadership Nature, leadershipnature.com. He has an assessment, which is like a disc profile, except he white labeled it. It's called the Range Finder. He's got a blog called Spot Fires, also in the forestry and natural resources metaphor and analogy. And check this out. These are Tom's business cards and postcards. And yes, you're looking at it right. You're looking at it right. It is made out of different varieties of natural wood from different kinds of trees. And it's also labeled which kind of tree each particular piece comes from. So all the forestry people just totally geek out on this. They totally geek out and go crazy. He gets amazing testimonials from big 800-pound gorilla people in his industry. The CEO of the Society of American Foresters, the deputy chief of the U.S. Forest Service. So the deeper he goes, the higher he gets. Think about that. Please, please, please think about that. Write that down in your workbook. The deeper you go, the higher you will get. That is absolutely the truth with all of our clients. Tom was so successful, he actually did a story in the National Speakers Association Speaker Magazine, and this was published back in 2013, 2014, something like that. And we even have a sidebar in here. It says, David Newman, a marketing expert who works with speakers, authors, and solo professionals, offers the following takeaways from his work with Tom Davidson. So this is one of these kind of joint case studies where Tom gives the client side of his success, and I share some of the things that I coached him and guided him and helped him decide and do and implement and really start to get some traction. But here's what Tom had to say at the end of the day. Applying David's marketing principles and sales practices, especially around laser focusing on serving my niche market, resulted in doubling my business in year 1 and then doubling it again in year 2. And since Tom and I worked together, he also earned his certified speaking professional designation from the National Speakers Association. And we were actually buddies in the same CSP class of 2014. So that's kind of fun. Third big area is how to get to the right prospects quickly, setting up your goals, targets, and focus so that you win. And we always want you guys to win. Here's the truth bomb, my friends. Everyone is not a target market. Everyone is not a target market. So do not get confused. Do not get mystified that, you'll be hedging your bets. You'll do all kinds of, if this doesn't work, I'll go do that. If that doesn't work, I'll go do this. The speaking world is a world where plan B will kill you. There needs to be no plan B. You need to be all in on plan A. And the more all in you are on plan A, the sooner plan A will become profitable and bring you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month of revenue, like it does for our clients. So the first step is to decide. Have you decided who you really want to target and who you really want to serve? There's 2 powerful words I would share with you. Decide and define. Because you attract what you define. You totally attract what you define. If you're looking at all these birds on your backyard fence, there's the yellow bird, the blue bird, the red bird, the yellow bird, the black feathers. There's all these birds. But you're like, man, I do my best work with that one red bird. Why are they so hard to find? Why are they so rare? Well, you're not looking in the right place, because if you look in the right place, you'll find trees like this that are filled with red birds. Similarly, if you're more of a bluebird kind of person, you want to make sure that you're going where the bluebirds go. And you do not want to be generic. You don't want to be on the fence with all the different colored birds. You want to fish where the fish are, or go bird watching where the birds are, or take whatever analogy or metaphor makes sense to you and go do that. Go do that. So how do you find your right flock of birds? 3 critical questions. Number 1, who suffers from it more greatly? Number 2, who needs it more desperately? And thus, number 3, who's going to value it more highly? Then you have to do some research. What do they read? Where do they gather? What are they already talking about? What's the conversation already going on between those people in that industry? Who else is in their ecosystem? Who are the vendors? Who are the partners? Who are the people that are at those same trade shows, at those same events, taking out the big full page ads in the magazines? Who are the folks that have the big trade show booths? Who are the vendors, the partners, the people that are in and around that ecosystem? Because guess what? If you want to reach them, and then that big company wants to reach them, that could be a sponsorship deal. That could be a sponsorship in the making. Hold that thought. I'm going to take a sip of water. Water. It's going to be great. Really good. Really refreshing. I hope you guys have a tasty beverage close to you as well. All right. Let's go down the path here. Let me show you kind of the full-blown example of this. Let's say that you're in the banking industry and you want to dominate the banking industry. Well, you can start using Google as your friend. Banking magazines, banking conference, banking industry news, banking industry headlines. You want to Google banking speaker, banking expert, banking consultant. You want to get the lay of the land in this entire industry. So when you do banking magazine, all kinds of fantastic things are going to show up. All kinds of resources, magazines, publications, individual articles, things to read online, offline, hard copy magazines, blogs, portals, communities, the whole thing. When I search for banking conference, the number 1 result is from the American Bankers Association. I'm going to click on training and events. Well, first of all, even here on the homepage, before I click on training and events, you can see they have an event coming up in June, the Regulatory Compliance Conference. They have a CFO exchange coming up in Louisville. They've got the Bank Marketing Conference coming up in Austin. So now we're just going shopping. Now we're just going, do I want to speak at this one? Do I want to reach out and offer my help with that one? Where am I going to go? You look at training and events, you'll find out, oh my goodness, they do a whole bunch of webinars. And the webinars are by category. Compliance and risk, corporate trust, marketing and retail banking, payments and cybersecurity, wealth management and trust. If you have a topic that is relevant, they probably want to hear from you because they bring in outside experts for these conferences and webinars all the time. You might even find old websites. You might find state, local, regional websites. So you find an old website, you click on the link, and guess what? It's going to bring you to the current website. You can look at the events, you can look at the conferences, you can look at the webinars, you can look at the publications, you can find the sponsors. So you can look at the exhibit and sponsorship opportunities, the conference chair, the sponsorship chair. Right here are my 2 new best friends. Elisa Legg is the Senior Vice President, and Carrie Carney is the Director of Meetings and Member Relations. And their phone numbers and their direct email addresses are right there on the site. So when people say, David, I can't find leads, I don't know who to contact, I'm not sure where the decision makers are, they're more often than not right under your nose, but you're not slowing down to carefully look. And it's really important that you slow down, that you look, and that you do your research, because research is where the money is made. Let's look at case study number 3. It's my client Scott McClymans from CEO Velocity, and he does all of these things right. He gives his quick background. Here's his value prop. That's a you-centric value prop. Define and attract ideal customers. Develop leaders and employees focused on those customers. Empower them with systems and knowledge to create and deliver great customer value. He's doing an article strategy. He's got cover stories in all of the big credit union magazines and publications. His niche, by the way, is banking and credit unions. He's got a CEO Velocity column that appears in the big industry magazines and journals of his industry. He's got 4 pages of scrolling articles, Banking New England, credit union business, credit union management, 4 scrolling pages of this kind of social proof and his articles and his thought leadership that is a bullseye in his industry. So at the end of our work together, here's what Scott had to say. Very excited about the results because he went deep instead of broad, right? The whole point of this is goals, targets, focus, go deep instead of broad. In the pipeline are 3 paid speaking engagements at high-profile leadership conferences, a large systems project with the top 10 U.S. bank, credit union CEO mastermind groups, a year-long CEO leadership intensive with the largest state-based credit union trade association in the country. Not bad for staying in your lane. Not bad for sticking to your knitting. Number 4 is strategic prospecting. Here's the key question. Who has your next prospect on their client list? And this is about doing a competitive scan. Who else is out there doing what you do, trying to reach the people that you're trying to reach? And more importantly, what are they saying? What are they doing? And what are they not doing? So you need to really become a student of the game. This is like a professional football player spends most of his time watching game tapes and practicing and figuring out, how can I zig when I know they're going to zag? How can I differentiate? How can I come up with a new play or a new angle that they haven't seen before? So if you become a student of the game, you are much more likely to win against the competition. And sometimes the competition is just commoditization, that you don't want to be a commodity speaker. One of my decommoditizing strategies is called the missing piece strategy. Show how and where you fit into their world. So it's 3 arrows of one color. Position 1, 2, and 4 is what they're already doing, what they already know they need. Arrow number 3 is where you plug in. Arrow number 3 is your arrow. So you're literally the missing piece or the bridge, and you're in a contrasting color. So what we have here is 1, 2, 3's missing. The ultimate end result, sustainable strategic advantage. Orientation, onboarding, skills, tools, and mindset is the missing piece. Ultimately, leadership development or a culture of leadership excellence. Here's another one. Onboarding the company, functional training or sales training, sales culture training, and then ultimately being raised, praised, and promoted to CEO, VP of sales, and becoming more strategic with the mission, the strategy, and the direction. Each of these 3 clients use the missing piece strategy to differentiate and distinguish themselves so they would no longer be seen as a commodity. Here's what happened. Bryn Tillman came through our program. She's an overachiever. She did 5 arrows instead of 4, but her arrow is in the middle, social branding and social selling. They were already doing product training. They were already doing process and CRM training. They were already doing their standardized sales training. And they, of course, already had their company culture and leadership programs already dialed in. The point is, this diagram showed every one of her clients that, hey, you guys are missing a critical piece of this. And every client that she showed this to, their finger ended up turning blue because they kept on stabbing the printout with their index finger saying, this is what we need, this is what we want, this is the missing piece, this, and the ink was rubbing off that blue triangle piece onto the prospect's fingertips. This is the power of when you get the decommoditization strategy dialed in. Bryn says, David's program was life-changing in its impact. During our work, I saw a clear path to building a multi-million-dollar business. Even more important, I got into action right away and got 2 new clients just doing my homework. With the clarity I got by going through this program, I will triple the size of my business this year. Now that's because Bryn took the strategies, took the tactics, and did the work and did the implementation. How many LinkedIn trainers are out there? Oh my gosh, zillions. How many social selling gurus are out there? Millions more. When she distinguishes herself as the missing piece, that's when the floodgates opened for her. So how can you articulate to your clients and your prospects that what you do and the way that you do it is the missing piece that they've been looking for all along? And that can be a force multiplier and an amplifier and a magnifier of your revenue. So if you're making $5,000 a month right now, imagine tripling that to $15,000. If you're already making $10,000 or $12,000 a month, imagine tripling that to 25 or 30 or 35. So these strategies take what you're doing, whether you're simmering on low, medium, or high, and they're a force multiplier. They will help you 2x or 3x your revenue, your fees, and your business in the next 90 days. If you're brave, if you're focused, and if you don't let your mindset weaken. That is so important, guys. You got to be brave, fast, and smart. In fact, I'm just gonna do a little pause here. If you're brave, fast, and smart, let's see, B is brave, F as BFS, right? Brave, fast, smart. If you would categorize yourself as an entrepreneur, as a thought leading expert, etc., if you're brave, fast, and smart, type BFS. Type BFS in the question box. I want to see how many brave, fast, smart people are on this live masterclass right now. And while you're doing that, I'm going to take another drink, and then we'll call out the rock stars and the superheroes in here. So if you're brave, fast, and smart, if I were to say jump, you'd say how high. If I say do it this way, don't do it that way. If you would follow that plan, and we could 2x or 3x your fees and 2x or 3x your monthly revenue, would you do it? The brave, fast, and smart people probably would. The brave, fast, and smart people, the BFS crew, the BFS team, probably would do that. I'm taking a drink. It's Crystal Light. Wild strawberry. Don't panic, it's not bourbon. All right. We have a lot of BFS in here, and some people put BFF, which I like even better, right? If you're someone's BFF, right? Best friend forever. Best friend forever. But I want you to be a best friend with sales. BFS is not only brave, fast, and smart, it is best friend with sales coming in. So Jabali and Mindy and Marcy and Jane and Mike and Christopher, Karen, Gloria, B, Keith, Richard, Eric, Gloria again, Godwin, Laura, Jeff, the other Keith, Christopher, Lewis, Lori, Ann. Awesome. Exactly. Best friends with sales. That's our new acronym. You guys are my new best friends now with sales. Best friends with sales coming in predictably and reliably. Let's move on to tactical prospecting. Developing client-centric distinction we talked about. Some templates and tools to help you guys. Here is tactical prospecting in a nutshell. We said become a student of the game. Well, you're going to find 3, 4, 5 competitors. You're going to start to do some research and some pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is really huge. Pattern recognition is about who's doing what with whom and who's getting paid by whom. So if I'm over here on my buddy Steve Farber's website, and I've noticed that this American Healthcare Association has been showing up a lot. He's on competitor 1's website. He's on competitor 3's website. He's on competitor 6's website. There must be some juice with the American Healthcare Association. They must hire a lot of speakers. So I'm doing some pattern recognition here in this example. I'm going to look for patterns. Something must be working. I'm going to find the association website. Here are the people I'm going to contact. I'm going to contact the programs chair, the education chair, the conference chair, the events coordinator. If I don't see anyone like that, I'm going to go right to the top. I'm going to go to the CEO or the executive director of that association. Then I'm going to find 50 state chapters. So with American Healthcare Association, here's their website. Here's a screenshot. I went to AHCA and I went to chapters. I went to regions. I went to, find local events. Here's Alabama Nursing Home Association. Here's Arizona, California, Alaska, Arkansas, Colorado, with names and with direct dial phone numbers. Guys, once again, please, when you say I can't find prospects, I'm going to call you on some BS here. You're probably not looking. You're probably not looking. I mean, you can't really spoon feed leads and prospects and people like this. This is as easy as it gets, and it's right under your nose. It's right under your nose. You know why you're not finding? Because you're not looking. You know why you're not looking? Because you don't like selling. You know why you don't like selling? I don't know. Because you don't like eating? Because this seems really hard or challenging for you? I'm telling you, it's not hard. It's not challenging. And once you dial this in, it's actually fun. It's actually fun. Now, let's do a couple more Google searches. Let's say you're in the engineering niche instead of the healthcare niche or the banking niche. We can do this with everybody. Engineering associations. We're going to type that in. I guarantee you there's more than one engineering association. Remember what I said earlier, look at the ecosystem. Look at the entire ecosystem in and around a given industry. So I'm going to go to engineering.com. Here's a link that says Directory of Professional Associations. Well, I got a whole bunch of them. Air and Waste Management, American Association for Wind Engineering, American Concrete Institute, American Council of Engineering Companies, American Council of Engineering Companies in Colorado, Illinois, Metropolitan Washington, Oregon, American Design Drafting Association, American Iron and Steel Institute. Endless, guys, endless. Each one of these is a link. You could literally spend one day in front of your computer doing what I'm doing here, and you would have hundreds of prospects. You could be prospecting from now until, if you knew what you were doing and you knew what to say and what to do and what to send at every step of the process, you'd have some amazing success over the next 60 to 90 days, just filling your pipeline with prospects and decision makers who are easy to find and who are highly relevant, highly targeted, and highly focused on the exact industries that you already want to serve. Now, I've got a cool tool for you, which is called Pipedrive, and there's a special link that I'm giving you here. Pipedrive is a visual CRM. It's a visual customer relationship management software. So go to doitmarketing.com/pipedrive, and you will get one free month. I think it's even 45 days. It used to be 45 days for free, so you get an extra 2 weeks on your 30-day trial. And this is what we use, and this is just an easy-to-use drag-and-drop system. It can be made more involved. You can do more sophisticated, more advanced things with it if you want to. But the beauty with Pipedrive is it's drag and drop. You can take people from prospect to contact made to call scheduled to initial conversation to email follow-up to decision call. And this is the sales process, by the way, that we recommend. So you can customize, of course, any CRM to use the steps and stages that you want to use. I recommend prospect, meaning someone who you want to reach out to, and that's where you initially fill the bucket. Contact made, call scheduled. Hey, can we talk on Tuesday at 2, Friday at 4, whatever. Initial conversation. Yes, we had the initial conversation. What's the follow-up? Did I send the follow-up email with the links, the videos, the one-sheets, the marketing material, the program descriptions, whatever it is they asked for? And then when are we having our decision call? When does the committee meet? When do you want to hear from me next? What else would you like to see from me to be considered? So you can track this with dozens and dozens and dozens of prospects, which is what you should have, probably between 20 and 40 prospects in play at any given time. And Pipedrive is a great tool to do that. So it's doitmarketing.com/pipedrive. Try that out. See if it helps. See if you love it. If you love it, use it. The only kind of CRM that you should be using is one that you will actually take advantage of and that you'll be in on a daily basis to keep your sales activity consistent and the lead flow strong and your pipeline full. Now, thinking about what you've seen so far, I'm going to ask you a very open, very honest question. Given that your speaking fee should be at least $4,500, $5,500, we talked about the revenue model earlier, how much money, how many new deals do you think you could bring in if you had a laser focused, high value prospecting plan that I just showed you? Between the research, becoming a student of the game, doing the Google searches that I showed you to find the exact prospects and contacts who want to hear from you, keeping track of all of that in an easy, effortless, fun system like Pipedrive. And let's use round numbers. Let's say that your speaking fee is $5,000 or training fee or whatever. How much money, honestly, how much money would a laser focused, high value prospecting plan, if we installed this in your business, what do you predict? How much extra revenue per month would you bring in? And I'm really curious about your number. We work with folks that are at the $5,000 level, and they say, man, this is at least 2 extra gigs a month. If I had this dialed in the way that I just demonstrated for you guys, easy. I could land 2 gigs a month, child's play, maybe even 3. So 2 gigs a month would be $10,000. 3 gigs a month might be $15,000. If your fee level, by the way, is not at least $5,000, we have to have a whole separate conversation. And your fee needs to be $5,000 starting today. Welcome to the future. That's what a serious, credible, professional speaker minimum wage looks like. You charge anything less than $4,500 or $5,500, and you're positioning yourself as an amateur, and you're undercutting your positioning and your value. So type in the number. I see some numbers coming in. How much revenue per month would a laser-focused, high-value prospecting plan like I just showed you bring in? Now you know where to find the leads. You know kind of how to find related ecosystem leads. You've got 20, 30, 40, 50 different associations, all have 50 state chapters. So it's literally hundreds of opportunities out there. What you guys might not know, it's kind of a fun fact while you're typing in your numbers, there are 7,500 business meetings every single day in the US. 7,500 meetings. That means there were 7,500 business meetings yesterday. There's 7,500, and this is not like internal in the office meetings. This is outside in hotels, convention centers, conference centers, big meetings where they bring in speakers. 7,500 per day. Now, when you think about there's 50 states, right? 50 states, it's 150 meetings per state. That's perfectly reasonable. In fact, to me, that sounds low. Are there 150 business meetings in California today that brought in speakers? Are there 150 business meetings in Pennsylvania today that brought in speakers? Yeah, probably a whole lot more. But let's stick with 150 times 50 states. 7,500 business meetings yesterday. There's 7,500 today, and there'll be 7,500 tomorrow. The problem is you're not speaking at any of them. You're here on the webinar with me. Now, our clients are speaking at these events, and so should you, and so will you. So let's look at some numbers. Let's see how good this actually looks. Man, no limit, says Laura. Marcy's at 20K per month. B. Spencer, 20K. Cricket also 20K. That number seems to be popular. Jabali says 10 to 15. Christopher is 25K to 30K per month. Another 20 to 30. Yeah, absolutely. And then more and more dollar signs and yay, yay, yay. I like yay, yay, yay. Yay, yay, yay is an excellent response. When you think about the potential revenue that you could be earning with not much effort and just some structure, guidance, and accountability to get it done, and to get it done the right way for the right reason with the right support and accountability to drive your activity. Because guess what, guys? When you drive your activity, that activity drives your results. And when you drive your results, you drive your momentum. And there's nothing better than momentum to generate even bigger, higher, faster results. And we see it all the time with our clients, all the time. Number 6, we're in the home stretch here. Sales mindset and skill set. Mindset alert. And you have to really get the junk out of the trunk and get the craziness out of your head when it comes to sales and selling. Selling is about offering value. The associations and corporations and groups that you're talking to are already looking to serve their audience, their members, their attendees, and their team. They're already looking to solve these problems that you solve. So as long as you do your research the right way, as long as you do your messaging with a high level of relevance, and a lot of people screw that up, of course, you are not going to be seen as a pest. You are not going to be seen as a bother. In fact, I want you to reframe the whole sales effort as an outreach campaign to invite prospects to a conversation on how you can help them. I'm going to repeat that. Forget about sales, forget about prospecting, forget those words if those words are nasty words to you. Invite your future clients to a conversation about how you can help them. Invite your future clients. And some might become clients and some might not. And you're fine either way. And I'm fine either way. Our team is fine either way. When we talk to people, our main job is to help them. It's not to beat them over the head with the sales stick. So it's an invitation to ask that future client or that future potential client, how can you help? How can you help? That's it. That's really it. The biggest shift is don't look for ways to sell them your stuff. Look for ways to solve their problem. Because they can pick up the vibe of someone who's genuinely interested in helping them achieve success. And they can also pick up on sales breath. They can also pick up on self-centered, selfish, greedy, commission breath. I just want the check. I just want the check. Please be my next check. And you can use the same exact words and the same exact script. And if your come from is not dialed in, if your come from is not right, they will pick up on it like a dog smells fear. Case study number 6 is Jim Bob Salisbury. Now, Jim Bob is in the education market. He's an education speaker. I followed up with him a couple months after he finished our program. And he says to me, David, man, loved the program, loved the coaching. In fact, one thing that you shared with me is bringing in $10,000 a month consistently like clockwork. Of course, when someone says that, I go, whoa, 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 hang on. What's the one thing? And he said, it's that outreach email. So I'm going to show you the outreach email. This is Jim Bob in action. He does classroom management training. He does teacher in-service days. He talks to school districts, principals, superintendents, teachers, teacher groups, etc. Here is the email. I'm not sure if you can help me, but I'm hoping you might point me in the right direction. Would you happen to know who's responsible for selecting speakers for your XYZ conference coming up in November, June, whenever? I have a program titled blank. I'm not sure if a high energy program like this is a good fit for your event. From what I saw on your website, I think it might be. I'd like to connect with the right person to find out. Thank you so much in advance for your help. Here is what Jim Bob told me, and here's what our clients have proven out time and time and time again. He does 5 well-researched high relevance contacts per day. That's not 100 cold calls. That's not 50 per day. That's literally 5 per day. 5 high relevance contacts per day. Researched, vetted, filtered according to his criteria. He makes 25 contacts a week. He gets 10 or 12 responses. A response counts as a yes, a no, or even a drop dead, but it's a response. Out of those, he gets 3 or 4 serious prospects. Out of those 3 or 4 serious prospect conversations, he closes 1 deal. Now, I mentioned he's in the education market. In the education market, the prices are lower, the fees are lower. So it's $2,500, $3,000, sometimes $3,500. In the corporate market, this would be $4,500, $5,500, maybe even $6,000. But in the education market where Jim Bob is, he does 1 program. It's between $2,500 and $3,500 usually. So think about 4 of those per month. That's where the money's coming from. So Jim Bob said, David, using just 1 of the strategies from your mentoring is consistently bringing in $10,000 a month. Working on my business week in and week out with focus, momentum, and detailed implementation assignments makes all the difference. At first, I wasn't sure of the return on investment of this program. Turns out, dollar for dollar, this program is the #1 best investment I've made into my professional speaking career. Jim Bob gets the credit because he did the work. But I tease him now occasionally, and I say, if 1 strategy out of our whole program brought in $10,000 a month, when do you plan to use some of the other strategies? When do you plan to implement some more besides this 1 little tactic that was 1 little script and 1 little module of what we talked about? But he says, no, man, this is working. It's working like a charm. He's just working the machine. He's working the machine because we guided and showed him what to do, what to say, what to send at every step of the sales and business development process. Once he had that dialed in, once you build the machine, all you have to do is run the machine. And it's a consistent flow of clients and cash flow. And it's a beautiful thing. It really, really is. Number 7, sponsors and success. And by the way, when we're done with 7, we're done with our little bonus here at the end. We're going to go to our massive Q&A. So hold your questions until I've seen some questions come in here. Hang on to your questions till the end. We're going to get to the questions here in a couple minutes. Sponsorship, I really feel, is the future of speaking. It is the smartest, highest leverage way that you can monetize your speaking profit center. What it means is you're speaking not for the speech, but you're speaking to help a client market, advertise, sell, or promote something to their prospects and their stakeholders. So when it comes to sponsorship, think in terms of triangles. And I'm going to give you some examples here in a minute, but you have a much bigger scope and a much bigger impact with a sponsored speaking than by doing onesies. So it's always more volume. It's always more customization, so it's more work for you. But why is that worth it? Because it's often 5 gigs, 10 gigs, 15 gigs, 20 gigs at a time. They're not buying one, they're buying many, many, many. And it will take you onto a national or global scope, not just local in your target market. It is not really a speaker model. It is a problem solver model. So let me give you some examples. Imagine a manufacturer pays you to come in and do a program for their distributors, or a bank pays you to come in and do a program for their high net worth clients, or a financial products company like a John Hancock invites you to do a program for all the financial advisors who resell John Hancock. Fortune 500 company hires you to come in and do a program for their minority supplier network. Pharmaceutical company hires you for multiple gigs, multiple dates, multiple engagements, buys hundreds of copies of your book, not to talk to the pharma company, but to talk to their doctors and to their patients. Imagine a software company like Microsoft bringing you in to talk to all of their dealer network or their small IT consulting shops. So it's a triangle where you're one leg of the triangle, the sponsor is the second leg of the triangle, and the actual end result audience is the third leg of the triangle. Case study number 7 is Mike Roby, and he put together this amazing sponsorship package, and you can see the logos here, John Hancock, ING, and Allianz Insurance. He had the sponsorship document totally dialed in. It says, sponsoring Michael Roby connects your brand to entrepreneurs and sales professionals. Nationwide live events with the heroes presentation create visibility and connections for your brand. And then here was his details on the speaking and the media tour. He's a columnist for Bank Advisor magazine that we also helped him get. He's got demographic information of the people that he talks to in his client base. So he put this entire sponsorship program together because he was tired of selling onesies and he wanted to start selling his programs in bulk. 5, 10, 15 programs at a time. And when Mike was done with our program, he says, David helped me negotiate a sponsorship deal worth tens of thousands of dollars, brought several of my product development ideas to life, advised me on how to reposition my expertise in my target market, facilitated my getting a column in my industry's leading publication, that's the Bank Advisor magazine that you just saw, and added value in other ways I can't even measure. So think about dialing in a sponsorship strategy or a licensing strategy or a scale and leverage mechanism into your business so that you disconnect your revenue generating potential from your time, attention, and presence. All right, so we're about to do our Q&A. I have an invitation for you before we get to that. I'm not exactly sure why you showed up today. I think we've got folks at all different levels with all different goals here. But it could be that you're a seasoned pro who wants to get more gigs at higher fees. It could be that you're a business book author or an expert who wants to speak more and earn more money. It could be that you're a coach or a consultant who wants to turn speaking into clients. Or you want to impact more people, raise your fees, and get out of low fee and no fee hell, which nobody likes to be in. So at this point, you've got a choice. You can leave this webinar and say, okay, nice webinar, nice teaching, that was great. keep going down the old path, old results, keep being confused, spinning your wheels, no traction, still not earning that next level of money that you deserve. More importantly, not making the impact that you want on the clients and the audiences who need you and want you. And I'll tell you guys, with no guidance, no accountability, no support, it's a hard, lonely road. That's the road I was on the first 3 years of my business back in 2002, 3, 4, 5. I wasn't reaching out for help from anybody. I wasn't listening to anybody. I wasn't getting coached. I wasn't getting trained. I figured, hey, I can do this on my own. I can figure out the hard parts. I'm a smart guy. I used to have a 6-figure salary in the corporate world. I used to work with these big consulting firms. I don't need nobody. And that was just 3 years of unnecessary struggle and blindness and dumbness and hitting every brick wall and every dead end. So I don't want you guys to do that. What I'd like to invite you to is to book a call with our team at doitmarketing.com/call, because all that frustration can end today. We're going to get on a call. We're going to diagnose what's really going on with your business. We're going to find the strategic gaps. We're going to help you refocus and reframe and reboot everything and anything that needs to be fixed, including everything we talked about today: the messaging, the packaging, the positioning, the fee craziness, marketing and sales, holes in your pipeline, why you're not reaching out, what you could be doing instead, and literally fill in what's missing for you to consistently get clients that you love and finally earn what you deserve. So this is how we help people. And I mentioned the difference between sales breath and really wanting to help people. So we really want to help you guys. Maybe you're ready for the help, maybe you're not. Maybe you're coachable, and maybe you're not. But either way, we want to make sure that you get the help that you need. And here's how that works. We have set aside some time. We've opened up our calendars, including my calendar, to speak to you personally about how you can apply these ideas to your business starting today. The cost of this call is free. The only criteria, the only catch, it's not for everybody. So this is not for you if building a high-fee, speaking-driven business is not your number one priority over the next 3 to 6 months. If this is a nice-to-have and not a have-to-have for you, you're not going to have the urgency, you're not going to have the drive, you're not going to be successful. If you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, so we don't want people who are dipping their toe in. We don't want the dabblers. We don't want the hobbyists. We don't want the people who are not serious. You can be a complete beginner, but 100% committed, 100% serious, and then the call is going to be of great value to you. But if you're not serious and committed, then I would say don't book the call. If you refuse to follow a proven process and take action on instructions, it's just going to be an exercise in frustration. So those folks shouldn't book a call. If you refuse to change your low-fee mindset and low-fee business model, so you got to be coachable. There's no point getting on a diagnostic call if you're not going to take that diagnosis and do something with it. So you got to be coachable. Or if you're down to your last few dollars and you need to pay the rent, because this is absolutely not a get-rich-quick program. We don't believe in all this hype and nonsense that make $1 million as a speaker by next Tuesday night at 11:15 p.m. This is a get-rich-smart program that's going to get you to that $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 of additional revenue as quickly as possible, but not quicker. Let me repeat that: as quickly as possible, but not quicker. There's no silver bullets. There's no magic beans. This is for you, on the other hand. I'd love to have you book a call if you're serious, decisive, and committed to making your business profitable over the next 60 days. Whether you've started speaking or you're a seasoned pro, anywhere in that spectrum, whether you've got your niche or message nailed down or not, and perhaps on the call we can help you with some options to help you nail that down. Whether you're in this full-time or you're still working the day job and planning your corporate escape, we've had some of our biggest successes with people who actually were able to leave their day job in 60 or 90 days because they had their speaking revenue dialed in so strong to the tune of $15,000, $20,000, $24,000 a month. It's amazing how quickly some of these transformations can happen. It's not overnight, but it can be very, very quick. You're willing to follow a proven process to ramp up revenue, and you take mentorship and direction well. And more importantly, you want to put $10,000 to $20,000 in your pocket over the next 60 to 90 days and build a predictable flow of clients and cash. I would encourage you, get on the schedule. We even have some time this afternoon, into tomorrow, into the next day. doitmarketing.com/call. It's going to open up the calendar. It's going to open up a questionnaire where we can get the information from you to prepare for the call. Here's why we're doing this. We want to get you total clarity about exactly what you want your speaking-driven business to look like and the exact steps that you should take to hit your goals. If you want our help and we think it's a good fit also, we may invite you to work with us, and frankly, we may not. So no harm, no foul, no offense in either direction. Either way, these calls, our goal for these calls for you is it's the most valuable 45 minutes that you're going to invest to grow your speaking-driven business and help you get results. So while we're in our Q&A here coming in about a minute, pop over there, open up a browser window, doitmarketing.com/call, book the time. When the questionnaire comes up, you can do the questionnaire or come back to it. Let's go to our Q&A. And while you're booking your time to talk to me and the team, what questions do you have about today's training? What questions do you have about any of the 7 core principles that I shared with you? Any of the 7 case studies? Any of the success stories? Any of the pivots, the changes, marketing, selling, outreach, strategy, business model, revenue model, service model, all of those things. It's totally open season. So please let me know what questions you have. I saw some questions fly by earlier. I apologize. Things were going a mile a minute there in the question window. If you did ask a question earlier, please re-ask the question so it floats to the top. And let me open up our question queue here, and let's see what I can answer for you guys. And I'm just going to pop this into the chat here. Book your call here. If we can help you, we'd love to help you do that. doitmarketing.com/call. All right, questions. Starting with Mindy, do you recommend putting fees on your marketing material? Absolutely not. What a great question. So for this applies to anything, by the way, Mindy. Speaking, coaching, consulting, you never put the fee out where they can have in their head, they're already positioning the fee completely separate from any value, any outcome, any financial return on investment. So let's say that you say, okay, keynote speech is $50. I'm not going to spend $50 on a keynote speaker. No one's going to spend $50 on a keynote speaker. Now, why is that? Because the value to me is zero. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what needles you're going to move. $50 for zero value is $50 too much. Now, let's flip this around. Let's say you're having a discussion about a consulting program with a company, and you surface in the course of the conversation they have a $450,000 problem. And you've monetized it using their numbers and by asking them questions, and they told you it was a $450,000 problem. You now come in with a $50,000 consulting proposal, they will buy that so fast your head will spin. Because $50,000 to solve a $450,000 problem is a bargain. So please, please, please remember, a fee without context is a fee they're going to say no to. Write that down somewhere. A fee without context is a fee that they're going to say no to. You always have to have the value discussion before you have the fee discussion. Always, always, always. But great question on that, Mindy. And by the way, if you want some help with fees and getting squared away on the fees, then I would recommend you book a call. Pop over to doitmarketing.com/call. If you're like most of our clients and most of the folks that book those chats with our team, you're probably undercharging for everything. So it doesn't matter if you put the fee on the document, don't put the fee on the document, put the fee on the website, don't put the fee on the website. You need to put more money in your bank account, is my guess, if you're like 90% of the folks that we work with. All right, Jabali's saying, do you give coaching on how to discover the best target market? Yes. So our full program, which is called the Speaker Profit Formula, all of these things that we talked about, right? Every one of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strategies and content areas, we coach and mentor our clients on continuously. all the way going back to business model, service model, revenue model, enforcing the revenue model, what you need to do, what you need to say, what you need to send at every step of the process, the define and decide. Remember the birds? Red bird, blue bird, red bird, blue bird, right? Who are your birds? Who's the hungry target market that really wants to hear from you? Now, Jabali, I will tell you, not every one of our clients takes our coaching. So when we say, okay, you're going down this path, you want to work with homeless youth. Now, working with homeless youth, I'm not sure who's going to pay for that. Homeless youth, it could be a very good cause and a very important part of your give back strategy. But can you monetize a speaking business aimed exclusively at speaking to groups of homeless youth? Well, only if you want to speak for a couple $100. So why don't we reposition and shift that topic 5, 10, 15% towards a different target market. Find the hungry target market that wants your expertise in a different wrapper. Help you make $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 per program. And then you do your 50% tithing to the homeless youth. Here's the deal, my friends. Someone that used to work with us, one of her favorite phrases was, the world needs you rich. The world needs you rich. And I agree with that statement. If you're going to do good work in the world, charitable give back, contributions, donations, works of service, if you're going to give back to your church, you're going to give back to your community, you're going to give back to the causes and the people and the organizations that you believe in, the world needs you rich. I've never seen someone who said, you know what, I've got too much money, I'm having too much of an impact, I wish I was more broke, I wish I was poor again, because I'm having too much impact. I'm able to give and donate and help and serve on a much higher level now that I'm making $25,000 a month than I ever could when I was making $5,000 a month. So Jabali, I think you and I are already doing some great work together. I would encourage you, jump into the program. You've already had the call. I think we're already doing something together. So I can't wait to work with you and help you with all of these decisions and make these very real for you so that they actually hit the bank account. All right, let's go to the next question here. David and I think someone else said in section number 6 of the workbook, always end your fees with blank. What is the blank? Great question. I cut down the slides. And I forgot to cut down the workbook just for time efficiency. It's the number 500. So always end your fees in 500. $7,500 sounds less than $7,000. $5,500 sounds friendlier than $5,000. Even though the number is actually higher, because it ends in the number 100, like that's a friendly number. Well, how much is your fee? It's $10,000. No. It's $10,500. It's $10,500. It's $12,500. So $12,500 sounds cheaper than it's $12,000 for our $12,000 speakers out there. $5,500, $7,500, $9,500, these all sound cheaper than the number below them. Pardon me. Let me get a drink and we'll fire off some more questions. Feel free to put more questions into the question box. I still haven't gotten caught up, but I'll take a drink. I'll scroll up. You keep typing. And as you're typing, feel free to book a call at doitmarketing.com/call. I see some of these calls already filling up on the calendar, which is great. We're looking forward to working with you guys. All right. Yeah, and I think Dan Ipes asked the same question, so the answer is 500. And that was David's question. And that was also Jane's question. And let's see. Richard says, I'm a beginner and I'm not confident what I want to speak on is marketable. Well, the best thing you can do, Richard, is to book a call, truly, at doitmarketing.com/call, because this is one of the first areas that we look at. And sometimes people come in. Remember I talked about one of the first deadly sins is the me messaging. People come in, they go, I want to tell my story. I want to share my journey. I want to tell people about what I've gone through. And guys, that never works. That's not a marketable topic. That's not what people are going to see value in. So don't tell people what you've done. It's a slight shift, but a critically important one. Tell people what you've learned. Don't tell people what you've done. Tell people what you've learned along the way and why that's important and what's going on that they can take away into their business or their career or their leadership or their presentations or their customer service or their strategy or their innovation or whatever your topic is, their health, their wellness, their parenting, their teaching career. Focus on what the takeaways are. So Richard, when you book a call, I would recommend that go in as a clean slate, go into that call, and you'll talk to me or Lois or one of the other guys on our team, and let's figure out where you are and where you want to be, because often the positioning and the topic and the subject of what you want to speak on, it's not like we're throwing out the baby with the bathwater. This can be a pivot of 5 or 10 or 15%, a very small, subtle pivot that makes all the difference in your packaging, in your sales, in your marketing, in your outreach, and in your results. So I would just encourage you to jump on a call with the team, doitmarketing.com/call, and let's help you figure that out so that you at least have the clarity on what some options might be that would be more marketable than the me-centric or speaker-centric version of whatever you were hoping to do. And it's time for another drink. Okie dokie. What else do we have here in the question queue? We've got... Jane has another great pricing question. Do you recommend fee to be all-inclusive or travel, etc. extra? So travel, etc. extra is a negotiating chip. Generally speaking, the fee is the fee. So let's say your speaking fee is $7,500. $7,500 fee plus airfare plus hotel plus whatever incidental travel and expense. Now, if you're in the middle of the country, and our clients that are in like Chicago and Oklahoma and Texas and whatever, they say, okay, we're sort of in the middle of the country. We can get to any coast for a few $100, maybe 800, 900, 1,000 if it's first class, and they're willing to eat the travel. Having an all-inclusive, travel-included fee is a negotiating chip. So when you're in a and we have a whole section, of course, in our program. We've got great coaches and mentors to help you with negotiating as well. But when you're in the negotiation, they say, oh boy, $7,500, I don't know. Hey, yeah, it's a real stretch for us. You can negotiate value for value, meaning that we don't cave on the price unless we take some value off the table or get some other concession from that particular buyer. You say, Wendy, I'll tell you what. Let's make this easy. I think we're only maybe $1,000 apart. Let me eat the travel. Let me eat the travel. In other words, that $7,500 is $7,500 all in. I'll pick up the airfare. I'll pick up the hotel. I'll pick up the Uber back and forth to the hotel. Do not worry about it. It's $7,500, no surprises. When you tell a meeting planner or a conference producer or an executive, here's the number, no surprises, it makes them feel more comfortable. That they're not going to get some invoice for, room service and champagne in your room and all kinds of crazy, limo service for $300 door to door. They know that when you say $7,500, it's $7,500 all in. So that's the story there. What else here do we have? Steve says, what insights or experience can you share about speaking to private corporate clients outside of associations and trade shows to drive a consulting practice? Well, so Steve, that is a strategic question, of course. And also you remember that you can speak to corporate clients, but when you're inside a corporation, you're speaking to one corporation. When you're on stage in an association, you're speaking to executives from hundreds of corporations. So a lot of our clients use the association speaking to get to your exact end result, which is to have the corporate client who's in that association audience come up to him or her afterwards and say, oh my gosh, this was awesome. This was great. What's next? We need to bring you in. How else can we work with you? This was a fantastic session. We got to do more. We got to go deeper. We got to go further. This is something that we've been wrestling with and working on. We need to talk. That's the stage side lead generation conversation that we teach our clients to have. So, you go into IBM to talk to IBM, that's going to be one consulting client, right? And that's not typically how it works. The other problem with going to corporate first or doing corporate only is you have no idea when IBM is having their next corporate meeting, but we all know where associations are having a next corporate meeting. And then you also know where do those IBM executives go for the association meetings that they recognize and respect. So the shortcut to get to lots of different executives and lots of different decision makers is actually a conference and association speaking strategy. The spin-off business or the referral business is going to be into the corporate market. And that, like you say, that might be for speaking, coaching, consulting, long-term projects, all kinds of things. So Steve, I recommend if you want to get that strategy dialed in, go ahead and book a call and we'll figure out sort of the entryways and the entry points that you might use to market and monetize the other aspects of your business model. All right, other questions. What else did I scroll by? What else did I miss? Feel free to retype it if you want a quick answer here, and then we're about to wrap it up here in a couple minutes. Let you guys get back to your money-making activity and or booking a call with us so that we can figure out the best way to help you. I'm just going to scroll back here a little bit. I'll put the URL in here one more time. There we go. So it's doitmarketing.com/call. And how much time? That's a great question. How much time does it take to get all this dialed in? Well, so I showed you two parts, right? And even with our client case studies that I showed you, there was building the machine and there was running the machine. So let's talk about that for a minute. Building the machine and running the machine. Building the machine, which is what you'll do with our guidance and mentorship and help, that's probably going to take, I'm going to be just brutally realistic here. If you do a good job, like a seriously good job, it's going to take you between 2 and 3 hours a day. 2 and 3 hours a day, 10 to 15 hours a week of research, assignments, decisions, documents, things that you're going to research, prospects that you're going to uncover, the competitive scan that we talked about, all of those different things. The prospecting, the messaging, the packaging, the getting all your ducks in a row, website, one sheet, speaker sheet, LinkedIn, all the messaging, all the packaging, what we call your marketing language bank. So it's pretty intensive. It's a pretty front-loaded kind of program. Once you get the machine built, the beauty of what we teach is efficiency and effectiveness. So there is no monkey work. You are 100% focused now on MMA, which is money-making activity. Money-making activity rules the day. You are not blogging, you are not tweeting, you are not linking, you are not Instagramming, you are not Snapchatting, you are not wasting all kinds of time on all kinds of nonsense. You're also not cold calling the universe. You're not spamming everybody in your email database. You're not doing any of those stupid, ineffective, old school, mass market, desperation type strategies. What you're doing is between 60 and 90 minutes a day of focused, high relevance, proactive outreach to decision makers and to organizations that you've already vetted, screened, and refined according to the criteria that you set of the exact prospects that you want to do business with. So please take all the marketing monkey work and the cold calling, the spamming, the blind calling, the batch and blast nonsense that other gurus might have recommended to you in the past. Put those behind you. We're not doing any more of that. So I'm going to say about 2 or 3 hours per day, 10 to 15 hours a week of active building, and then between 60 and 90 minutes a day of tending the sheep, filling the pipeline, following up, and closing sales. If you're doing more than that on your money-making activity, because remember, you're also traveling, you're also speaking, you're also coaching, you're also consulting, you're also creating your online course probably. You may be in the middle of writing your book. This is not the only thing on your schedule, guys. So please remember that we need to be as efficient and effective with your time and with your activity as with your anything else. So a lot of people teach very inefficient, ineffective techniques, and there you'll hear things like, oh, it's a numbers game. Just keep cold calling. Keep smiling and dialing. Cold call the universe, 100 dials a day, fill your pipeline. I don't have time to do 100 dials a day. Do you have time to do 100 dials a day? I don't have time to spam 50,000 people on LinkedIn. Do you have time to spam 50,000 people on LinkedIn? Probably not. What we're after here is a high touch, high relationship, low volume, trusted advisor style outreach campaign. Let me repeat that. High relationship, low volume, high trust, trusted advisor style relationship. You get that dialed in and you win. And remember our formula from before, 5 vetted screened outreaches a day, 25 a week, 10 to 12 responses, 3 to 4 serious prospects leads to 1 sale. That 1 sale between $4,000 and $10,000, multiply that by 4 weeks in a month, that's the revenue that our clients typically generate when they start building the machine and they start working the machine the right way. And they don't give up, they don't flake out, they don't let their mindset weaken, but they stay the course and they keep driving the program. They keep driving the program. Very, very, very important. All right, gang, I think we're out of time. We're out of questions. This was awesome. So thank you to everyone that chimed in with the thank yous. So Cricket, Richard, Steve, Dan, Jabali, Mindy, David, Jane, Laura, the other Richard, Christopher, B. Spencer, Marcy, Lewis, Keith, Fred, Gloria, Ann, the other Jeff, Eric. I hope I didn't miss anybody here. Very active in the question queue. Jason, Karen, Steve, Carrie, Godwin. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. You're awesome. We'll see you next time. Book a call. Book a call. Let's see if we can help you get on the straight and narrow, the fast path to a smart, speaking-driven business where the revenue is nice and the client results that you're going to generate are even nicer. All right, gang. Have a great rest of your day.